A disciple asked the Zen master, "Dear teacher, how to attain enlightenment?" The Zen master smiled, pointed at the cup of tea in front of him and said, "Let's drink tea simply and plainly. Sometimes what we are looking for is not far away, but right in front of us. Imagine you are standing in front of a clear lake where the waves are even and reflect the sunlight perfectly without a sound, without a disturbance. Only absolute silence and perfect harmony with nature. This is the state of mind when practicing Zen. A calm mind, clear, not dominated by thoughts, sounds, or conflicting emotions. Zen Buddhism, also known as Jin, is not only a method of practice but also a way of life, a philosophy that helps people escape from the suffering created by the mind. Born from the core of Buddhism, Zen Buddhism emphasizes experiencing reality directly instead of relying on theories or rituals. This is not the path of analysis or explanation, but the complete experience of today's life, where people are always caught up in the vortex. Work pressure and expectation. Meditation becomes a beacon that gradually illuminates our core to return to ourselves. It not only helps the mind to be peaceful, but also helps us realize that happiness does not lie in the distant future or the past, but in every breath, every present moment. The importance of meditation is that it not only helps us face the pressures from the outside, but also helps us discover the depth of the soul. When practicing meditation, we do not seek answers from the outside, but experience the truth ourselves through the stillness of the mind. In this state, you realize that balance is not something to be achieved, but is your inherent nature. Tuyet Tam not only introduces Zen, but affirms that this is the path to help you experience awakening and find true balance in life with core values from the history of philosophy and practice. Tuyet Tam is committed to bringing you a meaningful journey to your core, to clarity and deep peace. Music. Zen is like the lips of Buddha. Buddhism originated from the work of Saragautama, Buddha Shakyamuni, in the 5th century BC in India. Saragautama, a prince who renounced the throne in search of truth, attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. After enlightenment, he began to teach the Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the core teachings of Buddhism that guide people to overcome suffering and attain liberation. From India, Buddhism spread to other lands through merchant monks and the great trade routes along the way. Buddhism not only preserved the original teachings, but also harmonized with local culture and traditions, creating different branches of Buddhism, among which Zen Buddhism was a special branch that focused on the practice of meditation to achieve direct enlightenment instead of theoretical or ritualistic results. When Buddhism reached China around the 1st century, it met and harmonized with Taoism, an ancient philosophy that emphasized harmony with nature and essence. This sewing created the truth, which is the predecessor of Zen Buddhism, that we know, known today as an important figure in the formation of the true Bodhidharma, the Indian monk who is considered to be the founder of Zen Buddhism in China in the 6th century. According to legend, Bodhidharma crossed the Himalayas to bring Buddhist teachings to China. He not only propagated the core teachings, but also emphasized a revolutionary approach to enlightenment that did not come from reading scriptures or performing rituals, but from direct experience through deep meditation. The famous story of Bodhidharma meditating for 9 years facing a wall at Shaolin Temple is a symbol of complete inner focus. During this time, he also developed physical exercises to strengthen the health of monks, which contributed to the later formation of Shaolin martial arts. His teachings focused on direct enlightenment, which means understanding the truth through personal experience rather than relying on books. The harmony between Buddhism and Taoism in the blanket not only created a profound practice, but also brought a fresh perspective on life. Letting go of discrimination, living in harmony with nature and focus on the present. It was thanks to the feat that the foundation for Zen Buddhism was firmly built to later spread to Japan in the 12th century. Zen Buddhism was transmitted from China to Japan, where it developed into a unique branch called the Jin. The person who had the greatest contribution in shaping and developing Zen in Japan was Zen Master Dogen Genji, who was born into a noble family but lost his parents at a young age. Dogen had wondered early on about the nature of life and death. His question was, if all beings have Buddha nature, why is it necessary to practice? Dissatisfied with the answers from the Japanese Zen masters of the time, he decided to go to China to seek the truth. Here he met Zen master Nuang Nguyen Ruing, who taught him that practice and enlightenment are not two separate things, but one. Dogen experienced enlightenment through this lesson and brought the teachings back to Japan. Upon his return, Dogen founded the IH Monastery, which became the center of Japanese Zen. Here he wrote the work Avoiding the Dharma I Treasury, a masterpiece of doctrine and religion, a profound presentation of the practice of meditation, the nature of reality, and the meaning of time. One of the prominent philosophies of Dogen is that Ren meditation is not just a method, but the complete expression of enlightenment, with a long journey from India through China and to Japan. Zen Buddhism not only retains the core spirit of Buddhism, but also develops into a unique practice that emphasizes direct experience and awareness in each moment. This journey is not only the spread of a religion, but also the connection between cultures, creating a timeless spiritual heritage. Zen Buddhism is a special branch of Buddhism that does not focus on scriptures or complex rituals, but aims at enlightenment through direct experience. The core of Southern Zen is that it does not teach analytical thinking or explaining the world, but encourages the practitioner to experience reality in the most authentic way, overcoming all concepts and prejudices. One of the famous sayings in Zen Buddhism is, "Pointing straight to the heart." This phrase is not just advice, but also a method. Just win the mind means go straight to the nature of the mind without going around in doctrines or theories. Meditation emphasizes that truth cannot be expressed in words, it must be realized by oneself through practice. This philosophy also reflects Zen's rejection of reliance on ritual or form instead of seeking enlightenment in external forms. Meditation directs people to return to themselves, turning inward to discover the nature of the mind. One of the central tenets of Zen is the philosophy of here and now. For Zen, there is no time more important than the present moment. The past is gone, the future has not yet come. The present is all we really have. This philosophy helps people let go of the burden of the past and worry about the future. In today's life, we are often stuck in painful memories or unfulfilled expectations. Meditation does not deny the value of the past or the future, but it emphasizes that clinging to them only causes suffering for you. Two monks were walking along a road. Li Loi then met a girl. Young girl cannot cross a monk. Carries the girl across the road and continues the journey. A few hours later, the other monk cannot see and asks, "Why did you carry that girl? We are monks." But the first monk smiles and replies, "I put her down a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story is a meaningful reminder that sometimes our own minds cling to things that are no longer necessary creating unnecessary burdens. One of the most profound teachings of Zen is the overcoming of the ego, the letting go of the ego to integrate with the whole. Zen master TNG said, learning the Dharma is learning oneself. Learning is learning oneself. This statement is not a denial of the value of the individual, but an encouragement for people to overcome egoism. The idea that the self is separate and independent from the world around it. Egoism is the source of suffering because it creates a distinction between me and others, between this and that. Zen teaches that when we let go of the ego, we realize that all phenomena are connected with each other. There is no longer a boundary between self and the world. We become part of the whole, like a drop of water returning to the ocean. This philosophy does not stop at the level of thought, but is also expressed through daily practice in Zazen, when the practitioner lets go of the thought of me meditating. They will experience a state of complete harmony with the universe. Every breath, every heartbeat no longer belongs to an individual, but becomes a manifestation of the whole life. This integration is also the reason why meditation emphasizes awareness in every daily action. Doron Genji once said that when washing dishes, just wash dishes. This is not just focusing on work, but also a way to let go of the ego, to live fully with reality and feel harmony with everything around. Zen philosophy is not something to analyze or debate, but is an open door for us to enter a journey of experience from enlightenment. The practice of living in the present, to letting go of the ego. Zen Buddhism shows that liberation is not something far away, but always exists in this very moment. Just let go, just be present, you will find the truth. Music Zazen, or Zen sitting, is the heart of Zen practice, where all theory becomes experience. Zazen in Japanese simply means sitting in meditation, but its meaning goes beyond a posture or a method. Ren is the direct expression of enlightenment, is the state where the practitioner no longer pursues a goal or clings to anything sitting. Meditation begins with correct posture, an important element to achieve a state of stillness and awareness. The practitioner sits on a round cushion called Jia Pu, or a small bench with a ladder column. The head is slightly tilted forward, as if there is a string pulling the top of the head. Up the two hands placed on the thighs, forming the shape of an Vo Bien cosmic Mura. The left palm facing the right palm, the tips of the thumbs touching each other, forming a circle, the eyes close. The tiger not completely mistaken and focus on a point about 1 meter in front. The breath is slow and deep. Not the bed is forced to pay attention to the feeling of the air going in and out of the body. The target is not to control breathing, but letting the breath become a natural part of presence. One of Zazen's signature methods is Santara, which means enlightenment. This is not meditation to achieve a specific state or goal, but to let go of all expectations, just to be present with oneself. Santa is not looking for peace or enlightenment. It is simply a complete presence where thoughts, emotions, and body become one. When sitting in Shikara, the practitioner does not try to eliminate thoughts, but observes them like clouds drifting across the sky. No clinging, no resisting, just letting them come and go. As Zen Master Doji once said, sitting is enlightenment. Enlightenment is sitting. The unique point of Zen is that it is not limited to sitting meditation. The practice of meditation is a part of everyday life, where every action is an opportunity to live mindfully in meditation. Every action, no matter how small, has deep meaning when done with awareness. For example, when washing dishes, you are not just washing dishes, you are fully living in that action. You feel the water touching your hands, The sound of the dishes clattering and the warmth of water. Don't think about anything else. Don't rush to finish, just wash the dishes. Same when sweeping the house. You are not only cleaning the physical space, but also cleaning the mind. Each sweep is a breath, a concentration, a letting go when making tea. You are not only preparing the drink, but also immersing yourself in each movement. Pouring water, rejecting tea leaves, implicitly raising the cup to your lips. These actions, when done with complete presence, become a form of mindfulness. Is not something reserved for Zen masters or long meditation sessions. It is present in every moment of life. Walking on a familiar path, you can feel each step touching the ground, each breath in and out when eating. You feel the taste of each bite of food instead of eating in a hurry or thinking about work. Practice mindfulness helps us realize that nothing is routine when living in the present. Every moment is a gift, an opportunity to connect with reality. Our mind is often like a crowded road full of rushed thoughts. Kindness helps us step aside, observe the flow without getting caught up in it. When meditating, you will realize that thoughts are like trains passing through the station. They come and go. But you don't have to get on any train, only when you choose to get on. You get caught up in their journey. Let thoughts pass naturally, but don't accompany them. Regular meditation practice brings many benefits to both the mind and body. Mental meditation helps reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. It increases concentration, patience, and the ability to face life's challenges. Physical meditation helps lower blood pressure, boosts the immune system, and improves sleep when the mind is calm. The body also relaxes. Many studies have shown that meditation not only has a positive impact on the mind, but also changes the structure of the brain to help increase self-control and compassion. More importantly, meditation brings freedom. Not freedom from work or responsibilities, but freedom from the chains of the mind. When you are no longer caught up in negative thoughts, you will realize a space of peace inside where everything becomes clear. Family Den and the practice of consciousness in daily life is not only meditation methods, but also a way of life. A philosophy that leads people to freedom and harmony with reality. Whether sitting still on the bed or washing dishes and sweeping the house, every moment is an opportunity to let go, to be awake, and to live fully in the present. Zen Buddhism, with its simple and profound philosophy, leads people on the path to enlightenment without having to search far away. It shows that enlightenment is not a mystical state or a distant part, but is the essence, innate, inherent in every human being. The journey of enlightenment in meditation is not to achieve anything but to realize what is already there. Buddha nature, the state of mind, clarity and silence always exists in every human being. No doctrine, teacher, or ritual can give enlightenment. Because enlightenment is not something added, but a return to one's own inherent nature. The realization of enlightenment within cannot be achieved theoretically, but through direct practice. The Ray and Seat meditation is an important tool because it helps people to be quiet, to see the true nature of the mind. When sitting in meditation, the practitioner gradually realizes that all thoughts, emotions, and ideas are just temporary phenomena, not one's true nature. A Zen master once said, "There is no need to seek the light, just realize that you are clinging to the darkness." This means the path to enlightenment is not about achieving something new, but about letting go of what is not needed. Music, one of the unique methods of Zen to lead the practitioner to enlightenment. Enlightenment is the koan of Mose. and koans are seemingly meaningless or paradoxical situational questions or stories designed to challenge reason and break down conventional thinking. Koans do not mistakenly give specific answers, but force the practitioner to overcome the barrier of logical thinking to reach direct understanding. For example, a famous koan asks if you do not use your lips or are lazy to talk about Zen. This question makes the practitioner unable to rely on language or reasoning. Normally forces them to seek deeper. Experience. The purpose of koans is not to have the right answer, but to break down thinking patterns and open the way for direct perception. When the practitioner is faced with a koan, they will experience frustration, even confusion, before realizing that the answer lies not in thinking, but in letting go and direct perception true. Freedom is not liberation from both the outside, but liberation from the bonds of the mind. Freedom in Zen is the state of not clinging to anything, not clinging into the emotional thinking or even the idea of enlightenment. Non-discrimination is also an important aspect of freedom in the state of enlightenment. There is no separation between me and others, between good and bad. Everything is simply as it is, not distorted by judgment or subjective opinion. Before enlightenment, cover the loom. Carry water. After enlightenment, cover the loom, carry water. This famous saying sums up the spirit of Zen. Enlightenment does not change the outside world or daily tasks, but it completely changes the way we perceive and experience everything. Before enlightenment, critiquing and carrying water can be a heavy task. But after enlightenment, these simple actions become the expression of the aliveness of being fully present in reality. A free person is not someone without problems, but someone who is not bound by problems. When we let go of our attachment to results, we can live naturally and freely, not pressured by expectations or fears. The core of Zen is not about achieving anything new or extraordinary, but to realize and live fully with reality. Through the practice of Zazen and the awareness in every daily action we have, learn to let go of the constraints of the mind. Feel freedom in every breath, and harmony with the whole journey of meditation begins right here and now. No need for a perfect time or ideal conditions. Just sit down. Listen to your breath and realize that this very moment is all you need. Meditation is not a destination, but a path leading home to your true self. This video is not just a practice or a philosophy of life, but also a journey back to your true nature. Remember that everything you are looking for is already here within you. If you feel that the sharing from Triyat Tam brings value and meaning, please give Triyat Tam a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next content. Don't forget to share the video with your loved ones and leave a comment below. Wish you always lucid and full of positive energy on the journey of enlightenment. Accompany you with all your heart, a combination of philosophy or spirituality, but a convergence of all to surpass all three fields. That is the knowledge system of Nalanda, one of the most daring thoughts on the nature of spiritual reality and the path of human transformation. Different from traditional knowledge systems that clearly divide between materialism and idealism, between science and spirituality, Nalanda's thought unifies everything into one whole. He calls it two truths. One is the truth about the universe, the other is the truth about enlightenment. The truth about the universe is not simply a physical description, but includes the nature of matter, energy, information, and their movements. while the truth about enlightenment is not only spiritual enlightenment but also the process of humans realizing their true nature, restructuring their perception and transcending the limitations of the mind. Special points in Nalas's thought. Nalanda is the way he approaches knowledge as a moving process rather than a fixed system. He does not claim that what he says is an immutable truth, but always emphasizes that knowledge must be experienced and proven. This is why those who approach his ideas are not asked to believe blindly, but must verify it themselves through practice. Why can this system of knowledge change human perception? Because it not only helps us understand the outside world, but also helps us see through ourselves. According to Nalanda, humans are not just a biological entity programmed to operate according to biochemical reflexes in the brain. Humans are a form of information, a structure of consciousness that operates according to principles beyond the understanding of modern science. And if we understand this nature correctly, humans can reprogram their perception, free themselves from the limitations of old thinking, and experience the world in a completely new way. There is a key point in Nalanda's thought. He did not believe that enlightenment was a mystical state reserved only for saints or those who have practiced for a lifetime. He believed that enlightenment was a process that could be accomplished in the present life by changing one's perception and recoding one's own thoughts. Enlightenment in this way is no longer a distant thing but becomes a practical path, something that anyone can achieve if they understand its operating principles correctly. So if humans are just a collection of material molecules, if consciousness is just as the product of bioelectric reactions in the brain, then why are there moments when we feel connected to something beyond the physical body? Why are there experiences that cannot be explained by pure science? And if humans are just biological organisms, where does consciousness come from in the Nalanda system of knowledge? Reality is not simply what we can see, touch, or measure with physical instruments. Reality is not fixed, is not a physical world operates according to inevitable laws, but is a flow of information that can transform. Everything exists not as static blocks of matter, but as subtle units of information. A constantly oscillating network. According to him, humans are not just a physical entity, but also a cognitive system where consciousness is not a product of the brain, but a larger field of information that interacts with reality in ways that humans have not yet fully understood. So what determines an individual's perception? What makes people experience the world differently? The answer lies in how the brain decodes reality. According to Nalanda, human consciousness is not a fixed entity but a continuous process based on receiving, processing, and interpreting information from the surrounding world. When people look at an object, they do not actually see the object but only see a version of it that has been processed by the brain. Everything we experience, images, sounds, feelings, are not objective reality but a model that the mind builds to understand reality. This means that the world people live in is not the real world but only a personalized version of reality according to the way they perceive it from this perspective. Perception is not just a tool for people to observe the world, but the very factor that shapes the world. When a person changes the way they perceive reality, the world they live in also changes. If they believe that life is full of suffering, injustice, chaos, then they will only see those things everywhere. But if they expand their awareness, if they stop assigning fixed definitions to the world, they will realize that reality has no meaning in itself. Meaning only exists when someone interprets it. But if reality is just information, then is consciousness also just an information processing process? consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but an independent entity that exists outside the physical structure of the human being. The brain does not create consciousness. It is just a tool for consciousness to interact with the physical world. This is like a radio does not create music but is just a means to catch the waves and emit sound. If the brain is damaged, the human ability to process information can be affected. But consciousness itself still exists independently of the brain, and it is from here that the concept of the soul comes. Nalanda did not see the soul as an unchanging entity that persists through many lives in the way that many traditional religions describe it. Instead, he argued that the soul is an information structure that can change, can be reprogrammed, can be expanded or reduced depending on how a person uses their consciousness. When a person lives in a state of ignorance controlled by emotions and unconscious thoughts, they are not actually operating their consciousness actively, but are just reacting to old programs programmed in the subconscious. This makes their soul unable to grow, unable to expand to receive higher levels of consciousness. On the contrary, when a person begins to understand how consciousness works, they observe the world without being distorted by the mind,